Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're digging into something pretty much every creative person bumps up against eventually.
That feeling.
Yeah, that feeling. You're facing the blank page or the code isn't working or the ideas just stop. You feel stuck. So we're talking about what's really behind your creative blocks and how to break through.
It really is universal, isn't it? That wall that just seems to pop up and halts everything. And it can really shake your confidence too.
Totally. It feels awful.
But what if these blocks aren't just, random roadblocks? What if they're actually signals, maybe even opportunities?
Opportunities. Okay. That sounds a bit optimistic when you're panicking about a deadline.
Yeah.
But I like that reframe. So this deep dive isn't about just muscling through it or waiting for inspiration to strike.
Exactly. It's more about understanding the actual mechanics of why it's happening specifically to you and then building up a sort of practical toolkit to move through it. Maybe even use that stuck feeling for growth.
Okay, using it for growth. I'm intrigued. Less willpower, more awareness.
Awareness and skillful response. Yeah. Think of it like learning the language of your own creative process, including the times it, sputters. And the first step in learning any language is listening, observing.
Right. So observing a creative block, how do you even do that? It feels so internal and messy.
It starts with something we could call a mindfulness audit of the experience. It's about shifting from just being blocked to mindfully noticing what's happening while you're blocked.
A mindfulness audit. I mean, so I need to take notes when I'm feeling creatively miserable. Is that the idea?
Sort of, but maybe less miserable, more dead. Objective observer. When you feel that stuckness coming on, you pause and you just notice what's happening physically. Any tension, shoulders, jaw, stomach, where do you feel it?
Okay, physical sensations. Check.
Then emotional states. What are you feeling? Is it pure frustration, anxiety, maybe just flat apathy, or even sadness?
Yeah, it could be any of those.
And critically, what are the thought patterns? What's the voice in your head saying? Is it harsh criticism, worry about the outcome, or is it just blank, like mental fog?
So it's not just that the ideas aren't there, it's the presence of all this other stuff, like my chest feels tight, I'm thinking this is junk, I feel kind of doomed. That's the block.
That's your block. That's your personal signature. And you also look outside yourself of the environment. Where are you? Is the space cluttered? Noisy? What time is it? Again, not to blame anything, just gathering data, your specific data.
That makes so much sense. It feels less like I'm failing and more like there's specific conditions I can actually look at.
Yeah.
What else helps get this initial picture?
Mapping your energy states is really useful. Creative energy isn't constant. It flows, it ebbs.
Right.
So tracking your natural rhythm, when do you usually feel most sharp and focused? When do you tend to dip? This helps you see your peak times versus your low energy times.
Okay, so sometimes what I call a block might just be me trying to do heavy creative lifting when my brain's naturally winding down.
Precisely. You avoid mislabeling those natural dips, and tied to that is recording trigger situations. Just keep a simple log, what usually happens right before the block sets in.
Like, what could be some examples?
Maybe you just came out of a really draining meeting, or you got some feedback that felt, a bit harsh. Maybe you didn't sleep well, or you were trying to juggle too many things at once.
Got it. Like spotting the thing that often tips you over the edge, the first domino.
Exactly. Recognizing those patterns is incredibly powerful. You can start to anticipate things, or at least understand the context better when a block does show up. So phase one is really about becoming this gentle detective of your own creative world, understanding your symptoms, your rhythm, your warning signs.
We had detective work done. We've got our personal block fingerprint. Now what? What do we actually do when we're in the thick of it? Understanding is great, but I need action.
Right. So now we move to immediate interventions. And this is where specific techniques, a lot of them based in mindfulness, come in. One really powerful one, and it sounds counterintuitive at first, is called RAIN.
RAIN, like RAIN. Weather? How does that help me write?
It's an acronym. It stands for recognition, allowance, investigation, and nurture. And the key insight, the really different part, is that you apply these steps to the block itself, not to try and push it away.
Okay, apply to the block. Walk me through that. Recognition.
You just recognize, simply acknowledge what's happening. Okay, this is that feeling of being blocked. I feel resistance. Just name it. Without adding judgment, like this is bad or I shouldn't feel this way. It just is.
Okay, just noticing. Then A. Allowance. You let the experience be there. You're not saying you like it. You're not endorsing it, but you stop fighting it. It's here right now. That's okay. This step is huge because it interrupts that automatic fight response we have to discomfort. Trying to force the block away often just digs it in deeper.
Whoa, okay, that is different. So instead of hitting the wall, you just acknowledge the wall, then I am.
Investigation.
Yes. You investigate with gentle curiosity. What does this actually feel like in my body right now? Where is it? What thoughts are floating around with it? It connects back to that audit, but you're doing it live. Observing the sensations, the feelings, the thoughts, without getting totally swept away by them.
So I see the thought, this is terrible, but I don't have to climb aboard and write it. Just note it.
Exactly. There's that thought again. And finally, nurture.
Nurture.
Yeah, this is about offering yourself some kindness or compassion. Being creatively blocked often feels really bad. So what do you need right now? Maybe just acknowledging this feels really hard and that's okay. Maybe it's getting a glass of water, taking 5 deep breaths, just acknowledging the effort, meeting the difficulty with some support for yourself.
RAIN. Recognition, allowance, investigation, nurture. That feels way kinder than the usual internal yelling match. Okay, what else? What other tools for the moment?
A simple body scan. Seriously, even just 5 minutes. Sit down, lie down, whatever. And just systematically bring your attention to different parts of your body. Head, shoulders, arms, down to your toes. Just noticing sensations, warmth, coolness, tingling, maybe tightness, without trying to fix or change them.
And how does noticing my feet help when my brain feels like sludge?
Well, it pulls your awareness out of that looping, spinning, worrying part of your brain, the prefrontal cortex, and brings it down into your body, into the present moment. It helps ground you, yes, but it also helps release that physical tension that almost always comes with feeling mentally stuck. It breaks the worry cycle.
Okay, so it literally shifts your focus. I get that.
Yeah.
Any other sensory tricks?
The 5-4-3-2-1 grounding technique. It's a classic because it works. Feeling overwhelmed, stuck. Just stop and consciously notice 5 things you can see around you right now.
Okay, 5 things I see.
4 things you can physically touch or feel the texture of. Your desk, your sleeve, the chair.
4 textures.
3 distinct sounds you can hear. Maybe traffic outside, the computer hum, your own breathing.
3 sounds. Got it.
2 things you can smell. Maybe coffee. Or just the air in the room.
2 smells.
And 1 thing you can taste. Even if it's just the lingering taste of toothpaste or, the inside of your mouth.
Wow. Okay, that really does pull you right out of your head and into the room, doesn't it?
It's incredibly effective for just hitting pause on anxiety and bringing you back to here and now, which is where you can actually take the next step, even a tiny one. And one more thing, mindful movement breaks.
Like getting up and walking around.
Exactly. If you're sitting there stuck, even just 5 minutes of mindful walking, really feeling your feet on the floor or some gentle stretches, or even just shaking your arms and legs out.
A physical shakeup can lead to a mental shakeup.
It often does. It shifts your physical energy, literally changes your perspective, and can break that feeling of being completely cemented in place.
Okay, so we've got tools for understanding our personal blocks and tools for the moment they hit. But you mentioned environment earlier. It's not all just inside our heads, right? Our surroundings matter.
Oh, absolutely. Your environment isn't just passive background. It actively shapes your state of mind. So thinking deliberately about designing your focus sanctuary is really important.
Focus sanctuary. I like the sound of that. Less cluttered desk of doom.
Exactly. It should feel supportive. Clearing visual clutter is a big one. A messy desk can often feel like a messy mind, Optimizing lighting, natural light if possible, but good task lighting helps avoid strain and fatigue. And maybe arranging a few things that inspire you or remind you why you're doing this work.
So it's practical, not just about making it look nice. It's about making focus easier.
Precisely. And then there's the digital environment, which, let's be honest, can be a huge distraction zone.
Tell me about it. The notifications. The urge to just quickly check.
Right. Setting really clear boundaries around digital stuff is, I'd say, non-negotiable for protecting deep work. Deciding when you'll check email or social media and having dedicated times when those things are just off limits.
Easier said than done sometimes.
It is, which is why tools can help. Things like website blockers during your core creative time. It's like putting up a temporary fence to help your focus stay put. You're guarding that creative concentration.
Managing the physical space, guarding the digital space.
Yeah.
Anything else environmentally?
Threshold rituals. This is about creating a consistent little routine you do right before you start your creative work.
Like a little ceremony to start.
Kind of. It signals to your brain, okay, we're switching gears now. It's time to focus and create. It could be super simple, lighting a specific candle, making a certain type of tea, taking 3 conscious breaths, listening to one particular song.
So the action itself becomes a trigger for the creative mindset.
Exactly. The consistency trains your brain. It helps you transition smoothly into that creative zone.
I love that. It's like building a little bridge. Okay, so we've got understanding the block, acting in the moment, shaping the environment. What about making ourselves more resistant to blocks in the long run, building up strength?
Great question. That moves us into building resilience, establishing practices that really sustain your creative energy over time. And a huge piece of this is scheduling regular recovery periods. Seriously, putting rest on the calendar.
Planning to rest. Doesn't that feel a bit like giving up time you could be working?
It feels like that sometimes, but it's actually the opposite. It's strategic. Creativity is demanding work. It uses up energy. You wouldn't expect an athlete to just sprint endlessly, right?
No, of course not.
So you need to plan activities that genuinely fill your tank back up, not just collapsing when you're exhausted. And this means both active recovery things like hobbies, exercise, seeing friends, and passive rest like meditation, quiet time, reading for pleasure, maybe just doing nothing much at all.
Okay, reframing recovery as fuel, not failure. I can see that.
It's absolutely fundamental for a sustainable creative life. And you don't have to do it all alone. A support system is incredibly valuable.
Talking to other people who get it.
Yeah. Connecting with other creators, whether it's a formal group, an accountability buddy, or just friends who understand the ups and downs. It gives you perspective, empathy, shared ideas, and just reminds you you're not the only one wrestling with this stuff.
That makes a huge difference, knowing you're not alone.
Definitely. And that brings us to a concept I really like. Energy banking.
Energy banking, like a savings account for my creative juice.
Kind of. It's about proactively investing in your recovery and replenishment during times when your energy is naturally a bit lower, or even when you're feeling pretty good, before you hit empty.
So instead of waiting until you crash and burn and have to stop.
Exactly. You deliberately build up reserves, you rest, you recharge, you fill the well before it runs dry. It's preventative maintenance for your creativity. It helps prevent those really deep, long blocks that come from pure burnout.
That really flips the script, doesn't it? From reacting to burnout to proactively managing energy. Okay, so we understand, we act, we set the stage, we build resilience. How do we know if any of this is actually, working?
Good point. That's where tracking and adjusting come in. Seeing this whole thing as an ongoing process, not a one-time fix. You need to monitor your progress. But maybe think beyond just finished output. Look at process metrics.
Process metrics. Like how many times I resisted checking Twitter.
Chuckles, maybe. Or things like, how long could you stay focused in a work block? How quickly did you notice your mind wandering and gently bring it back? How did the quality of your focus feel? You're gathering data on what strategies are actually helping you.
So I'm basically running little experiments on myself and seeing the results.
Yes. And that leads right into reviewing and adjusting your strategies. Maybe once a week, take 15 minutes. Look back. Did using rain actually help shift things when you felt stuck? Did doing that threshold ritual make it easier to start? Did the body scan help ease tension? Then you tweak your approach based on what seems to be working best for you. It's not rigid, it's a flexible framework you personalize.
It's iterative, learning and fine-tuning as you go.
Exactly. And keep documenting those insights. That mindful observation journal you started way back at the audit stage, keep it going. Note down breakthroughs, notice recurring patterns, capture what you're learning. It becomes your personal guidebook to navigating your own creative landscape.
It really is about becoming a lifelong student of your own creative process then. We've gone from understanding the specific shape of your block to having immediate tools, building a supportive space, fostering long-term energy, and creating a loop for ongoing learning. Feels comprehensive.
It aims to be. It shifts creative blocks from being these scary, mysterious monsters to being, understandable signals within your own system, a system you can learn to work with. And it really highlights that building a resilient creative practice is a journey, a mindful one.
Which brings us right back to the core idea. These aren't just abstract concepts, they're actionable tools, things you can start trying out right away to change how you experience those inevitable stuck moments. It's about building a more aware, more sustainable, and ultimately maybe even a more powerful way to create.
And maybe here's a final thought to chew on. What if those moments where you feel most profoundly blocked, most stuck? What if they aren't actually problems to be solved or failures to be pushed through? What if they're actually valuable invitations? Invitations to pause, to look deeper, to understand yourself better, and to strengthen your practice in ways you might otherwise miss. An opportunity hidden inside the challenge. Something to think about.